Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Open Mic Podcast. Open Mic Podcast. Um, I'm your host, as many know, on Open Mic, and this is going to be this episode is going to be. I had a lot of people from most um the most recent episode tell me it was a very powerful. Like you could really feel the emotion. You're probably going to get more of that on this episode as well. Um, but I hope everybody's week, hope everybody's day's been good. Um, weather's warming up a little bit here. Finally getting some of that snow and ice, and the Antarctic is melting. Um, my damn mailbox has been blocked in with snow and ice for what feels like a month. So they wouldn't deliver the mail, but then I saw today. I guess it. Yeah, I remember back in the day when I was a kid, the mail is mostly mailmen, right? The people that deliver the mail, they walked house to house, and the mailboxes were on the houses, and this, that, and the other. And now their mailboxes on the street. And man, those people don't get out the vans, they don't get out the trucks. If they can't just pull right up, put the mail in, and roll on, they don't leave mail. So they couldn't get to our mailbox, and so we just having to go to the post office and get the mail. And they said after 3 days they would send it back. So we just had to um, make sure we got our mail. And but I saw today when they delivered the mail, the woman parked and got out. So the snow and ice had kind of melted enough to where they could get over it. And I've been trying to like drive over and do all this stuff, but yeah, the last few days it's been 40s. I think it got up to 50 one day and a lot of sun. So, um, man, I was messing with insulation in my basement one day because the cats go down there and like kind of pull at it because my basement's not finished. And I didn't think nothing of it. Just grabbed that insulation with my hands. And man, the tips of my fingers after about a day just felt really irritated, like they had splinters, and it was that damn insulation. And now my fingers are like peeling; they're like starting to peel. Uh, but yeah, they itched real bad, and it burned. It was so strange, and I didn't even really handle it that much. I didn't think it would matter, but I guess I was wrong. I should put gloves on, but I didn't think. I just grabbed it and kind of put it back and reattached it. So, um, but yeah, a lot of people reached out about the most recent episode and got a lot of positive feedback. And you know, people that say, "Hey, man, keep it going." We like the podcast, like listening, and so here we are, another episode of Open Mic Podcast, and I want to talk. So I feel like the internet, right, the wide world web, the interwebs, whatever you want to call it, right? Like I feel like in I feel like there's always inventions, right? Like technology is always changing and always evolving, and um it's supposed to be for the good, right? Like you think everything that's created or invented is a reason, right? And it's going to benefit people in society. The cars were invented, electricity, um so many things were invented to like make life easier. And so um computers and all that been around forever. Even though back in the day, like I remember seeing videos of like government and businesses having computers, and they were like these tall, just look like laundromat machines. It looked like how they got the stackable washers, and that's just what they look. It's very industrial looking. And so the internet was created. And I feel like whoever created the internet probably had the best intentions, right? And I mean, the internet, the idea came up, in the 60s, and it evolved, with the 70s and then into the 80s, a global network. That's like what we use today. And I mean, it was basically for the like U.S. Department of Defense, like the government. That's what um like they had all these computers and they needed a way for them to talk and communicate to each other, like kind of if they weren't in the same room or in the same city or whatever. And so that's how, for anybody that knows, this is like a quick history lesson, but that's how what the internet was for. I don't know, ARPANET. I don't know how you pronounce ARPANET. That was the first network, 1969. Um, but it was, the government, right? Um, and it just, it just expanded, and then eventually it became public access, like in the 80s. Um, and they introduced like domain name systems, DNS, and later on the World Wide Web, which came about in 1990, which transformed the internet into a widely accessible platform for everybody to access. Right? It was communication, information sharing, whatever, and so it started as a means to have computers, communicate with each other. Um, But the internet is like if you took a library and a like encyclopedia, if you just took all this information and put it into like one place, that's kind of what you got. You got the internet. And with every like we know every good thing that comes, there's usually somebody that's going to use it. I mean, think about that. Like when we were growing up, we had like I had a regular phone that you had to dial the numbers, and if you could dial one number wrong, you had to start all over again. Yeah, I don't know if anybody remembers that. I'm sure y'all do. Um, but you didn't have cell phones. You didn't have all that. Everything was, you know, you had to see people. If you wanted to go talk to your cousins or your aunts or your uncles or whatever, your friends, you called them on the phone or you got on your bike and rode to the house, or your parents might be riding through the neighborhood and they take a trip across town to see your cousins. And um but with we played video games and you did all that stuff, but it was nothing was on the internet. Now, you look at what we got, look at social media and look at, you know, gaming online and how far that's come. And I mean, we got cell phones with games we can play, online. And I mean, you can it's just crazy how far it came from where, because I saw what it was like in the beginning and how it, has evolved over time. Um, from a military and like an academic network into the global, worldwide that we see and have now. And it's crazy, like the things that people come up with and the abilities and what they can do. And I always think people, when they do this, they have the best of intentions, right? But all it takes is uh, for one bad seed to take something that's like, this is great. What can I do? What kind of bad stuff can I do with the internet? What kind of bad stuff can I do on the internet? And then they got, I don't know if anybody's familiar with like the dark web. I don't really mess with any of that stuff because I'll have nightmares and PTSD for months. And I think that happens to a lot of people, right? They go down this rabbit hole, they start reading about stuff, and then you start getting into conspiracy theories about things, and now you can't determine what's fact and what's fiction. And um you start going down this rabbit hole and you get overwhelmed, and some people can handle it, some people can't. It's just, whatever. And with all this all this stuff that came out recently about Epstein. I mean, Epstein was arrested, charged, whatever, went to prison in 2008, and then he supposedly, killed himself in prison. Which there's been a lot of things that say, hey, he was on suicide watch. How did he commit suicide? Like when they put somebody in prison or in jail on suicide watch, they remove everything that could possibly be used for them to harm themselves. So it's always been a lot of conspiracies out there that he was taken out, just simply because he had a lot of information on a lot of people. And so all these Epstein, all these files, all this information is coming out now, um, from the federal government. And some of the stuff's been redacted, and then they take it and then they unredact it and then they release it. And it's like, there's no, it's just how they went about it, right? Like, um, how they've gone about that. And I had this discussion with a friend of mine, and it's like, the way they do it, it's chaotic, it's disjointed, it's a massive dumping of files at one time. It's like sloppy redaction, and they do it right. They like this is like something that defense attorneys use, like a legal ploy. Um, they do it in an effort to like overwhelm people, right? Um, who try to filter through all this crap, right? And they do it that way on purpose because it's chaotic, it's messy, it's meant to overwhelm and confuse you because our brains like can't handle that. First, it's traumatic, right? The things that you're reading and seeing and the videos, it's very traumatic. Um, so we get overwhelmed, right? And usually, like I said, you dive down the rabbit hole, you start chasing info, false leads, conspiracy theories, all that, and then most people will just stop altogether because they can't handle the amount of trauma and the horrific information and the pics and the things they read. So then they want to forget about it, right? They don't want anything to do with it. And so when the Department of Justice, I guess, released all this, there's a method to the madness, and that they do that on purpose. Um, and it's working, right? I mean, it's happened. It happened to me. Reading some of this stuff and looking at the files, and you literally just get so caught up, and then you start going down this rabbit hole, and it's it's traumatic. Like it will like be embedded in your mind and your brain, and you start to like kind of obsess over it, and you get kind of like a lot of people start getting paranoid, and which that can be good in some ways, but you don't want to be so paranoid and so afraid that you like forget to live your life. And but it's I think it's a lot of covering up going on. I think there's a lot of guilty people. um Man, when people like Epstein was very wealthy and he was a corrupt, sick individual, and anybody that's associated with him closely, I will never believe that those people did not know what was going on. I'll never believe that, not in a million years. Because if you're close enough with someone, like a friend, and you're close, like if you own like an island or a resort and you're close enough friends with this, that where you invite these people to come stay, and what more than likely they know what type of lifestyle you live. And I mean, this was, like I said, 2008, and all this stuff was going on like his whole life. I mean, it's crazy. And here we are, 2026, and they're finally releasing all this stuff, and it's just so chaotic. And the way they're doing it's very messy. And a lot of people, a lot of social media is being like, if you're on social media right now, it's consuming like every part of social media, like everything, TikTok, Facebook, Instagram, like everybody is consumed with this right now. And there's some false information, and there's some false stuff. There's some AI, like AI again was cool in the beginning. Like right now, it's like, people are using AI to make these fake pictures. And I mean, I saw an AI video the other day. The person in the video, I mean, it looked real, right? Like People using AI to like redo their voices and sing songs. Do all it's so crazy, man, and I think it's too much. But um, just be careful, right? Like what you read and what you get into. Just know that like the stories about this guy and the things he did and the people involved are not. If you're a parent, especially, and if you have young children, it's scary as hell. And hopefully, it wakes some people up who were kind of naive to things that this will never happen to me, or whatever. And I'm going to get into that a little bit more later, but um, I think people need to know. I think people need to be aware of this type of stuff. And there's plenty of guilty people still out there that have not been questioned, brought up on any charges or anything. And that we need the American people need to speak up on this, right? With all the ICE stuff that's going on and all that, and now this, it's like there's so much tension. Like right now, people are like on the edge. People are on the edge, and people need to be held accountable. And people that have money and they have power, for I don't for who however long you want to go back and look, those people have always that have had that kind of money, that kind of power. They run everything, right? But that doesn't excuse you from crime and the things that you've done, especially when it comes to crimes against children. That's the lowest of the low. I think it should be punishable by death, in my opinion. Um, and yeah, it's like both parties, man. There's no like, and I've seen that right. Recently with this, I've seen people that are claim to be Democrat, people claim to be Republican, conservatives, liberals, kind of come together and agree on this. That and then Trump made some comment. We need to move on from the Epstein. Move on to something else. Like what? Like what are you talking about? You're tired of hearing about it? We need to move on to something. No, because there's people that need to be brought up on charges and put in prison or in a pine box. He may be one of them. From everything I've seen and read, he might be one of those people. So, um, there's a lot of unanswered questions, and I feel like this is going to get worse before it gets better. And the former Attorney General of Florida, Pam Bondi, who's now the United States Attorney General. I mean, they've been questioning her, and she's just showing her, what, um, her A double money signs. She's just wilding out, and it's like when you call somebody out on something and they don't have a response, so they just start insulting you. Like that's basically what she does, and it just shows guilt, and it shows you covering for people. And then she made a comment that if they arrested or charged everybody that was involved, it would like the system would just crumble. Good. Maybe that's what that needs to happen because the system has been screwed up for a long time. And I don't give a damn about the system. If it involves crimes against children and those people are guilty of that, then they don't need to be a part of the system anyway. They need to be removed from the system. And so going back to the internet thing, like what I was going to say was like people, online gaming. There's a guy, Sean Ryan. He has a podcast. He has an Instagram. Anybody that is into that should really listen to his podcast. They're long. I mean, 3 to 5 hours, some of them. But he has a lot of good information. He's ex-military, whatever. He has a lot of people on that know a lot of things. And he's had this guy on they call him an ethical hacker. So he doesn't hack like to steal money from banks and all that stuff. He goes after the bad guys basically. And there was a guy from Virginia that was running for office, or he was in office for something, and this guy happened to come across some site of pedos, and this guy was one of them. I can't remember his name. He was arrested. But this hacker, he come across this guy, um, and turned it into the authorities. Um, and when he did, the authorities were like, "Well, we should charge you for hacking." And he's like, "Well, yeah, but look at this stuff I found, right?" And it was crimes against children, and it's just so wild that they were more worried about him hacking into the site, not. So they pretty much told him, if you come forward with this information, like, you might be charged too. And the guy said, "Well, the hell with it. I'm willing to take that risk." So he did, and um, they ended up um arresting this guy, and this guy did a good thing. Um, I can't remember what that guy was. Can't remember what his name was, but so this guy, that's what he's been on the Sean Ryan show a few times, and I follow him on Instagram, and that's what he does. Like, he works with a lot of organizations to do this stuff, and he's broke down a lot of the Epstein stuff too. So, um, but when he was on the Sean Ryan show recently, they were talking about online gaming like Roblox and Minecraft, and there was one other one. But they say those online communities are very bad for people, for children, because those are games that mostly children play, and it's bad. Like, it's just ate up with pedophiles, like people on there looking for children and looking. And so they did a demonstration, and he goes in, and I mean, it was like 20 seconds in, and he's getting all these messages from these people like, "Hey, how old are you? Where are you from? Are you home alone? You want to get freaky? What do you look like?" Like, all this stuff, man. And I play online games. I play, a lot of battle royale games, and Fortnite's one of them. A lot of kids play Fortnite, and I used to play with randoms. Now I just play solo, but I used to play with randoms, and more times than not, I would end up in a team match with kids, right, younger kids. And parents, I say this, I'm going to tell you this because this is my experience. I want parents out there to know that have children that play these games online. You need to set the parental, um, you need to set the parental locks on that so they cannot communicate with anyone. And I say that because I've been in matches and lobbies with these kids, and they will tell you anything and everything. They will volunteer information. They will tell you their names, first and last. They will tell you where they live, because children just don't know no better, right? Like, they want to trust everybody and think everybody has the best intention, and they just don't know, right? And it's sad. But parents, I've seen that, I've heard that. And so, parents, if you choose to let your children play any of these games online, Roblox, Minecraft, Fortnite, anything, Call of Duty, any of that stuff, make sure you're monitoring, and make sure you go in and set those parental locks so those children cannot be communicated by anyone. They can't talk to anybody. And they're probably not going to like that, because I'm sure now, if it's somebody they know, right? Like, if you have if you have family members that have young kids and they like to play Fortnite together, that's different, right? You can arrange that to where they can still communicate with them. They can be added to a friends list or whatever. But there's no way I would not be involved. And there was a game, like, I remember I was in a match one time, and the kid was just really chatty, right? And he was talking about how his school was going, and how the weather was where he was at, and blah blah blah. And he asked where I'm from. And I was told him, and I said, "Where are you from?" And I hear somebody in the background on his end say, "Don't answer that. Don't answer that." And I said, "Hey, is that your dad in the background?" And he said, "Yeah." I said, "Can I talk to him?" So he puts his dad on the headset. And his dad kind of, he had an attitude. I said, "Hey, look, man, I was just making chit chat. He asked me where I was from. He's telling me about the weather. I said, but good for you, right, for being in the room, being involved. But you need to shut that down, right? You need to make it to where he cannot communicate with just random people that you don't know. And this is why. And of course, I'm innocent, right? Like, I have no ill intentions at all. I'm just making, kids love me, right? Like, I went to college originally to be a teacher, and I decided not to teach. And, I coach sports, whatever. So I deal with kids, I talk with kids, and it's just innocent chit chat. But I don't blame the dad for he got upset, and I understand. And but he was there and he was involved. But you need the parents, you need to shut that down, lock those down, put those parental locks in. You can do it. It's very simple. If you're not sure, you can Google it. It'll tell you how to do it. If you got a PlayStation or Xbox or a Switch or whatever, um, shut that down. And it's a shame that things that are supposed to be so good and so entertaining and so fun, and the internet's cool and the gaming's cool, but there's so many people out there that will use it for evil. They will use it for evil things. Those people are there's something missing upstairs. And most of those people they don't get rehabilitated. It just is what it is. They don't. And but when they're caught, they're labeled and they register, and they exist, and where they live. And um but there's so many that you don't know, and it's scary. And I think we need to um I think in this society, especially this digital age, it's easy to put our kid on a phone or a tablet or put a movie on and whatever, right? And just let them do whatever. And I think um, we need to get back to visiting people in person. Um, I had this conversation with somebody I knew the other day, and they said, I feel like the internet was the worst thing that could have ever been invented. Um, and I probably agree to that to a small extent. It's been great. It is great, but and we were talking about going back to the '90s because everything was just so chill back then. Yeah, nobody goes and visits anybody anymore. We just pick up a phone, a cell phone, or shoot them a text. And everybody's like, well, what if technology just stopped today? Like, we got hit with some EMP or something that just killed everything. It would suck at first, right? Like, cause you got so much information online and you do so much online. Like, I don't remember any phone number. I don't think nobody memorizes phone numbers anymore. That would suck. You'd forget all that stuff cause you never remembered it in the first place. But would we be better off in the long run? Nah, maybe. Maybe. You know? Um, it, it's just crazy. There's a comedian, man, why can't I not remember his name? He's an Italian guy. He talks about that. He's like, when I was a kid, if somebody knock on the door and the kids come running to the door, sliding in on the floor with their socks, and everybody's excited. It's like, oh, look who's here, we got a special cake we serve just for guests, and we put on a pot of coffee, and we sit around and we talk, and the adults talk to the adults, and the kids visit the kids, and it's a good time. And that don't exist anymore. At least it not as much as it should. And if the internet wasn't around, that would still probably be a thing. And maybe it is to some people. Maybe it is in some places. And then I think some people get so tied up in their jobs and their life that they don't take the time to go visit. And I think people need to I think anybody listens to this podcast, this episode, I want you to sit back and reflect and think about the last time you got in your car with your family and you went and visited an aunt or an uncle or a grandparent or just a friend, a high school friend that has kids. When's the last time you got in the car and just drove to their house and just showed up? Probably been a while. So I challenge everybody, man, listening to this podcast. I want you to do that at some point. I want you to just take a trip and go visit somebody unannounced, whether it's a friend or a family member. Load your kids up, your husband, your wife, whoever, your dog, take your cat if you want, and just go drive and visit somebody. Visit somebody you know, a friend, school friend, somebody you haven't actually went to their house and sat down and talked to them in a while. And I know people like that comedian, Manikowski. I don't know how to play his last name. I promise I'll mention it. He tells that story too because he's like, nowadays somebody knocks on the door and you turn into a ninja. You're creeping up, turning the lights. You're telling everybody to shut up, don't make no sound. You're like, it's like, why did we get like that as a society? What caused that? Right? Is it fear? Like, I know the media does a good job of like fear mongering. Or do we just not want to interact with people anymore because we do it online and we don't have to be face to face with anybody? Like, it's easy to have uncomfortable conversations when I ain't got to stare you in the eyes. I ain't got to look you in the face. You know what I'm saying? Like, a lot of people don't like that. But I think that's learned behavior. I see kids, I see parents sitting in a restaurant on their phone, the children in the restaurant on their phone. Like, that's learned behavior, right? Like, um, yeah, I see it. It happens a lot. Like, and I don't blame it. It's not the kid's fault. It's the parents' fault. You know, I've had kids say, when it comes to my child, they're like, such and such didn't want to play. They said they wanted some alone time with their phone and their videos they're watching on YouTube. We're talking about like 6, 7, 8, 9 year olds saying that. Like, what? But then you look at the parents, and they're doing the same thing. So it's like, of course, the children are going to be like that. The parents are like that. Um, it's crazy. People be in the same room. I'm guilty of this too. I mean, I'll shoot a text somebody downstairs or whatever. But I try to make a habit of that. Like, I try to stay off my phone a lot more. Like, I'll post, social media for the podcast, whatever, but I try to stay off my phone a lot because I don't want to set that example. I don't want to be that, right? Like, if we go for a long trip, yeah, I'll put a movie on or whatever. But I always try to pick something that's kind of educational, and limit the screen time. Like, I don't pretty much don't watch TV hardly at all, but um parents, man, get involved, man. I'm telling you, there's a lot of bad people out here that want to do bad things, especially the children. And I think it's important we have those conversations with our children. We ask them, we give them scenarios, we educate and teach them what to do in a situation. Hey, some guy rolls up, you're sitting at the park. This guy pulls up in the van and said, hey, I got some kittens in my van. You want to go see them? Ask your kid those questions. Just see what they say. See what the response is. And then talk to them and educate them and teach them what to say and what to do in those situations. I watch videos on that stuff all the time. It's important. I'm telling you, get involved. Teach your children that stuff. Be a part of their life. Because I can tell you right now, a parent that's involved and is always present, more than likely that your child's not going to be a target. Because I watched a thing on Netflix. They was talking about that, and they interviewed some guy who was uh, a pedophile, and he talked about that. He would look at the father. He would look at the parents. He'd see. He would go after low hanging fruit, easy targets. Not going after something that'd be a challenge. They don't do that. So, and it's hard to trust. It's hard to trust people, man. I get it. I After all this Epstein stuff, man, you're probably gonna have a lot more of that, which is probably good. People are on high alert, man. People on edge right now. The economy's not great. You got all this stuff coming up, and as a society, as a people, we can only take so much. And all that ICE stuff going on, no matter what side you're on, it's traumatic. Whether you're for them or against them, and now you got all this crap. this Epstein stuff, and it's just crazy, man. I the stuff I've read and watched, it's like I don't know whether to be sad, I don't know whether to be mad, I don't know whether to cry, and it's upsetting. And to think that someone could do that to like innocent children, man, it's crazy. And I wish I just urge parents, man, just to be more involved with your child. Get them off the electronics. If you can, get them off the video games. Um, do stuff with your children, man. Like it doesn't matter. I mean, you could play chess, you could play checkers, you play tic tac toe for all I care. Board games, whatever. Read, go to the library, arts and crafts, paint, build things, put stuff together, coloring books, anything. There's so many things you can do that children love to do, and it's educational. It teaches them. Play sports, go outside, kick a soccer ball, throw a football, throw a baseball. You know, the little thing, the little mitt that's like Velcro and it's got the little ball and you can throw it. Like the kid don't even have to catch. They just put it up there and it sticks right to it. Teach them hand-eye coordination. Um, kids that live close to me, they got into wrestling. The greatest thing they ever could have done. Um, and then there's kids that just stay inside and play video games all the time. I just feel like that's gonna be a problem as those kids get older. I feel like it's gonna be a problem. And yeah, sex crimes, crimes against children, you shouldn't get the pleasure of staying in a prison for the rest of your life. And most people are like, well, that ain't no pleasure. They're still alive, and that's too much. They should be they should be out. You can't exist in society and you shouldn't be a burden. Somebody should not have to pay to take care of you and keep you alive. And a lot of people are probably going to disagree with me on that and think I'm cold hearted. I'm not. I don't think anybody in their right mind would say that, especially if somebody has children. I just don't get it, man. But I'm just warning y'all. Anybody that goes down that wormhole of all that information, that rabbit hole, just be careful. Just tread lightly. Also, make sure you don't get like BS mixed up with like facts. But I'm just warning you, man. It's not like some of that stuff is gonna be burned in your brain for probably the rest of your life. It's traumatic, and just know what you're getting into, know what you're looking for, and man, everybody just stay safe. You know what I mean? Just stay safe. Protect yourself. Protect your family. Do what you got to do. Educate yourself. Look for things. Teach yourself. There's plenty of like there's plenty of professionals that used to do that stuff for a living online. I know social media, but they educate and teach you all this for free. You don't have to pay for it. They'll teach you all this stuff because they want to keep people protected. Man, I people take things for granted. Man, I was in a restaurant not long ago, and some guy was at the table with his children, and he gets up to run up to the front counter for something, and his children are there by themselves. I mean, it takes a split second for somebody to run up, grab one of them kids, and phew, they're gone out the emergency exit door, gone. And what are you gonna do? The hell? What are you gonna do? You man, don't. I'm telling you, man, don't. And it happens. Some parents, like we've been in the, some parents go in a convenience store or whatever, and the kid gets down, they want to play hide and seek, and they hide in the clothes rack, whatever. Kids are going to do that type of stuff, right? It doesn't make you a bad parent. It doesn't make you, it happens, right? I get it. Just be more aware where your child's at. Just know that there's a lot more people out there now that want to do bad things than there were when I was a kid, 40 years ago. Just be aware. Don't ever think that this will never happen to me because that's when it happens to you. Be smart, be safe, be diligent, be present, be involved. Um, It's sad, man. It's sad. But man, all of us got to come together, man. We got to change this. So I don't know where to start. Um, I urge everybody just to be safe, educate yourself, be involved, be around, teach your children what to do, what not to do, things to look for. Educate, educate, educate. That's all you can do, right? Um, so let's switch gears a little bit here. We didn't get to talk about the Super Bowl, right? Super Bowl last Sunday. I told everybody Seattle was going to win by double digits, and it wasn't looking like that game was a snoozer. It was a snooze fest. The first like 3 quarters, right, and then Seattle's defense just kind of took control, and it just for New England, the wheels came off the wagon, and wheels came off the wagon, and that was all she wrote. Next thing you know, they were up by more than I thought. I said they'd win by 14. They won by more than that. So it was a boring Super Bowl, man. Unless you're a Seattle, New England fan, I think for everybody else it was boring. Uh, Seattle's up in the upper Midwest. Nobody ever sees their games. But good for Sam Darnold, man. He was drafted by the Jets and, was never anything for years. And then he lands in Minnesota last year, had a great year. Minnesota lets him go, right? Because they had drafted a quarterback. And they also had Daniel Jones, who goes to the Colts, and he had a great year until he got hurt. And then Sam Darnold goes to Seattle, wins the Super Bowl. So how does Minnesota, like anybody out there listening to Minnesota fan, the Vikings fan, like how are you feeling knowing that happened? In New England, I like Mike Vrabel. He played for New England. I think he's a good coach. He was a good coach in Tennessee. I like him. They're just a young squad. It's going, Drake May's still got some growing, got some learning to do, but they'll be all right, I think. Um, but yeah, I think that the game was kind of boring, and so now we got to wait another 7 months or whatever it is for football to come back around. So right now, some people like basketball now. It's just boring. This is a boring time for sports, in my opinion. Baseball. A lot of people love baseball. Starts in the spring. It's so long, man. It's so long. I just can't. I like going to baseball, like going and watching in person. I just can't watch it on TV. It's way too long. Just way too long. Um. So Super Bowl right now, you got the Winter Olympics. I know a lot of people. Like I got friends that they love to watch. They'll watch whatever's on. It don't matter. I was joking with my buddy earlier, watching. I said shuffleboard. It wasn't shuffleboard. It was curling. Get the little broom out. That little ice thing with the little handle sliding. You get the little broom, and I guess it makes it speed up or slow down. However you curling. Yeah, get on that. I like hockey. I like hockey. So I can watch ice hockey. Um, I don't know. The Olympics just ain't. I don't think the Olympics are what it used to be. I feel like it used to be the best of the best. I don't know if it's like it anymore. It's supposed to be the world's greatest athletes against each other, but no. I'm over winter, man. I'm ready for spring. I'm tired of it. Man, these like 5-degree mornings and all that. It's got to go. And people got to remember it's mid-February, so you get a 50-degree day here and there. Don't think spring's right around the corner because it's not. It's uh, but yeah, man. It's just a weird time right now for so many people, and just just be careful with information on. Like I said, online can be a great tool, but it can also be bad. just be careful when researching stuff online and what you get into. And then the algorithms, like you could go on your phone and look up something, and next thing you know, you're getting like 5 ads for it, right? That always freaks me out. That always kind of creeps me out, right? Or if you click on a video by mistake, now like Instagram's sending you, like when you go through the reels, it's just sending you that stuff over and over. It happens to me. Like click on something, like damn it, didn't mean to click on that. Now you're trying to find like funny videos, and you're getting all this other crap getting in. It's like, come on, man. I don't know how you fix that. I guess you just got to not look at the videos, but every time you click on one, there's another one. It's like, all right, I don't want to see this. I want to see something funny. I want to laugh. Like that's my go-to, man. I love comedies, like sitcoms, movies. If anybody asks me, what do you want to watch? I'm going to pick something funny over anything else because I feel like laughter heals a lot of things. I know, like, I have AFib, and a lot of times when like, over the years when I've had an AFib attack, I remember I'd watch Seinfeld, I'd watch, The Office, I'd watch something funny. And it always kind of made me feel better, and most time brought me out of AFib. So whenever I'm kind of down or I'm feeling anxious or panicky or whatever, I just play some old Seinfeld reruns, or kind of helps me out. Watch something funny. Um, so um, I guess we can. I know I'm being weird tonight, man. Like I said, that Epstein stuff got me kind of. I can't let it consume me. Like I don't want to end up with a tinfoil hat on my head, but at the same time, it really wakes you up, and it's like, what can I do? Right? I want to help. Like, what can I do to help? There's so many nonprofit, like Tim Tebow started a big nonprofit, and then a lot of people. I saw an interview with him where people were asking him like, all these crimes are going on. Like, why are more people getting arrested? And it's like they don't have the staff. Like they're undermanned. They can only do so much with like 7 people. And he showed all these he showed this image. It was like a red dot. Every red dot on the map was a computer that had like stored child pornography or shared it or had it income or whatever. I mean, the whole United States, mainly from like Midwest, right? Like it was all red. There was a lot of red in California, whatever. It was a lot. And it's alarming, man, that much stuff exists and we don't have the power, the manpower to go after these people. And that led me to talk about ICE. And I'm like, we put so much effort into deporting people that come here illegally. And we're talking about people that contribute to society. Like people want me to say, like I had people tell me this. My daughters are safe thanks to Trump and ICE and deporting these illegals. It's like they make up a very small percentage of people that commit those crimes. So that's a bunch of BS. But why don't we put that same energy and effort in going after people that commit sex crimes against children? And don't tell me that most of these people are immigrants or people of color or whatever are illegals, because that's not true. That is not true. That's a lie. And if you've been told that, you're being lied to. Go do your own damn research because the information is out there. You can look it up. That's not true. The efforts we are putting into going after these people, there's so many nonprofits out there to help bring these people to light. Here they are. Go arrest them. And it still doesn't get done because they don't have the staff. And as a matter of fact, the Department of Justice recently did cuts to that department within the Department of Justice that goes after those, the sex crime, the crimes against children. They cut the budget and the staffing. Why? Like what's the justification behind that? Go after those people. Those people need to be removed from society like yesterday. And I care more about that than someone that came into this country illegally that's contributing in a positive way. I've seen so many people get arrested. And yes, they may arrest a lot of illegals that come here that are criminals. I get it. But I also see a lot of people who are contributors to society in a positive way that are getting deported. These people have started families in this country. Their children are getting left behind. That should not happen. That should not happen. Have some empathy for like it just let's help them become citizens, right? Instead of just saying, nope, they gotta go. They gotta go. And then the innocent people that aren't even illegals, aren't here illegally. I should stop saying illegals. The people that aren't even here illegally get pulled over and searched and this, that, and the other. It's crazy. And then some cops can't handle when they get they get pulled you over and you're recording them. They don't like that. They can't handle that. That's another whole problem too. I feel like police training in general and all that just there needs to be a universal, and there's not. This is for first responders, EMTs, firefighters, whatever. There needs to be a universal training that goes on. It's not every department, every state, every locality. They all do things differently. There's no standard, and that's a problem. That should be changed. Everybody should have to meet the same standards across the board, from a physical, mental training perspective. It should be the same for every state, every county, every whatever across the board. Should all be the same. But if we put the effort that ICE and you see all them putting into, that effort should be matched or elevated. It's not the right word, but you get what I'm saying. That same effort should be matched and then some to go after pedophiles. The hell with ICE. The hell with all that. We need to put more effort into that. Hopefully, this Epstein thing brings it to light. We, the people, have to speak up, make our voices heard, and let them know this is enough. We're not putting up with this. We're standing up to the system. We're standing up to these people, these elitists, these elites, these freaking occults. That's what they seem like. They got all this money, they got all the power, they control that. Well, I can tell you what, there's more people, there's not as many of those elites as there are the common man in this country, common people in this world. If we all took a stand, stood up, I think we can get it done. But it's going to start. And I don't want to hear the cop out. Well, I ain't interested. I don't want to be involved. Get involved, damn it. Especially if you got children, you got families. Get involved. Care. You should. If you don't, shame on you. I ain't got nothing to do with it. It don't involve me. It ain't going to happen to me. Keep on having that mentality and you're going to see it is going to happen. We need to stand together, man. Come together for this. Anyway.
You got mail.
Oh, Mike mailbag. Dude, hold on. Wait a minute. Let me put some pimping in it. I don't know where that came from. All right, open my mailbag. Let's see. You got mail. Open my mailbag.
You got mail.
Hello, Open Mic Podcast. Subject, listener appreciation. Thank you for the great content. I just want to take a moment to share how much I appreciate the work you're doing, the conversations and thoughtful, engaging, and consistently meaningful. The recent discussions stood out to me. Perspective shared was insightful, relatable, and it gave me a lot to reflect on. Thank you for creating a space for authentic dialogue. I'm looking forward to many more episodes Warm regards, Trent. Trent, thank you for listening to the show. I appreciate the email. Yeah, last week's episode was powerful, I was told. So, um, been kind of serious. Last episode, this episode, it just is what it is. I'm trying to talk about real life things, things I think people care about, and things that I care about, and that are relatable. And um, yeah, we'll get back to some of the funny stuff. Uh, what's up with that? Haven't done a segment on that the last two podcasts, so maybe the next episode we'll lighten it up a little bit. But Trent, I appreciate you listening to the show. Appreciate the email. Um, Hi, open mic. I'm a regular listener and truly value the depth of conversations on the show. I'd love to suggest a potential topic for a future episode. Um, the topic is meal prep. You mentioned meal prep in a previous episode, and I'm very curious. I could use some help in that area, and I think a lot of others could too. I believe this subject would resonate strongly with the audience and spark meaningful discussion. Thank you for considering the suggestion and keep up the excellent work. Best, Tina. Tina, thank you for being a listener to the show. Thank you for the email. I appreciate that. And yeah, I've had some other people reach out and tell me that too. So that's a good idea. I might maybe on the next episode, maybe I can do a cooking. Maybe I can do an episode on some meal prep and things that I do. And there's a lot of people that I follow on social media that do a lot of simple meals, especially for families that have big families. Like there's a guy who basically does all these meals. He shows you how to cook meals on like for like $10 or whatever. Like there's another person I follow. They'll just get like 5 ingredients out of the pantry, whatever they got, and we'll put a meal together and show you how to do all that on a budget and things like that. So maybe I'll do an episode and shout out some of those people so you guys can go on and follow, that too. And because that's how I learn. I just learned from everybody else. People like that helping. It's free. They're on social media. They make these videos for free. Um, but yeah, I appreciate you listening to the show. Appreciate the email. Let's see here. Um, let's see. Long time subject, long time listener, occasional genius, super fan with Wi-Fi. Hello, open mic legend, the legend open mic. I just want to say that I'm a huge fan of the show. By huge, I mean I've listened while driving, cleaning, pretending to work, and once while nodding seriously in public, so people thought I was listening to something educational. Your conversations are smart, honest, and occasionally make me pause and say, "Wow, I should rethink my life choices." If you ever need a guest, a caller, a dramatic reading voice, or someone to laugh slightly too loud in the background, available. Keep doing what you're doing. Is brilliant. Brilliant. Sincerely, your friendly neighborhood listener. That's it. No name. Your friendly neighborhood listener. Well, you're my friendly neighborhood listener. I appreciate you listening to the show. I appreciate the feedback and you emailing the show. And I'm glad I'm able to help you um, rethink your life choices. I'm glad I make you laugh and all those things. But it's always nice to hear those things. Let's do one more. This a good one. Let's do this. The last one. Subject: listener question on growth and accountability. Hi. Hello. I've been reflecting on some of the recent episodes and had a question I would love to hear discussed. At what point does self improvement become self criticism, and how can people tell the difference? I think this could open up a powerful conversation around growth, mental health, and personal responsibility. Thank you for consistently creating space for thoughtful dialogue. Sincerely, Robin. Robin, I appreciate you listening to the show. I appreciate the email. That's a great, great question. I'm glad this is going to be the last question of the day. Um, at what point does self improvement become self criticism, and how can people tell the difference? Well, self improvement is basically like knowing you have something you can do better in, right? Like, say you're a procrastinator, right? And you're like, hey, I want to get better at not procrastinating. So I'm gonna come up with a plan. I'm gonna come up with a game plan. So say I don't know, say you got chores around the house you should have been. Say you got something you needed to fix in your house, a hole in the wall, you need to patch it up, whatever. And you just procrastinate. Maybe you don't think you can do it. Maybe whatever reason you just procrastinating. You're like, all right, today's the day I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna do my research. I'm gonna figure it out because nothing will make you feel better than not having to look at that hole in the wall anymore. At least that's how I'm looking at it. Um, and just working towards like being better, right? Like reading, if you know you're having an issue in a certain area, you can educate yourself on that. You can read that. Um, you can read about ways to like self improve and help yourself. But when it goes from like, instead of doing something that's improving yourself or talking about improving it, and you're always like being a Debbie Downer about it, or you're always then it becomes self criticism, right? Like, um, and I feel like that's a fine line there of self improvement and self criticism, right? Like, um, I don't know. Like self improvement is like it's not like the difference in self improvement and being like self criticism when it goes from like growth, right? Like you're trying to get to like self rejection, right? So like setting goals, reflecting on those on your like bad habits, adjusting those habits, whatever, that's like self improvement. Self criticism is like I need to do this because I'm not good enough, right? Or I need to fix myself because I'm not good enough. Like maybe you've been in a lot of bad relationships, right? And you're like, I'm the problem. I'm the problem. No, that's like self criticism. You are good enough, right? Like just because it didn't work out with that person doesn't mean that that's going to work out with someone else. And self improvement, like I want to be better because I value myself. Criticism is like I don't want to grow because I'm worthless or I'm not worth anything. To me, that's the difference in like um, self improvement versus self criticism. Like, okay, I tried something, it didn't work. What can I do to make it work? That'd be self improvement. Self criticism is like that didn't work because I'm always messing up and that's all I do. So that's the difference there. So um I mean that was a really good question, but that's the difference, right? Like I try to speak highly of myself, but yeah, of course, like we all criticize ourselves sometimes too. And I think it's important, especially if you have children, that you don't do that in front of kids. You always want to talk yourself up, talk your children up. Man, I don't know how often people like compliment their children. Like not only when they dress up or whatever. I challenge everybody out there that has a child, young child, whatever. Doesn't matter. When's the last time you gave them a compliment? Especially like if you have a teenager, whatever, other than like when they got dressed up to go to church or go to dinner or whatever. Oh, you look so pretty. I want everybody out there When you wake up, when you listen to this episode the next day or whatever, I want you to go to your child and you say, "Hey, you know what?" And they say, "What?" You say, "I think you're beautiful. I think you're smart. I think you're kind. And I love you." And I guarantee they just light up, right? We need to get in the habit of doing those type of things. Not only complimenting people when they dress up or whatever, tell them, especially your children, tell them, "I think you're beautiful. I think you're smart. I think you're kind. You make me laugh. You're funny." Tell them, let them know. Like, let's boost them up, man. Let's boost our children up. Let's get them going. Tell them all those things, you know. Um, children. I think it's the greatest thing in the world, and it's not for everybody. I've had people tell me that, and that's fine. But for me, it's the greatest thing. And you know, but I challenge everybody, man. Boost your children up. You wake up, say, "Hey, I got something to tell you. I'm gonna tell you a secret. Come here." Or it ain't a secret. Say, "Hey, I gotta tell you something." And then tell them all those things, and I guarantee they just laugh and smile, and it'll make them feel so good. And even if you got older kids, man, you can still do it. Teenagers, whatever. I know they're like, "Oh, mom, oh, dad, blah 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 blah." Do it anyway. I guarantee they smile. I guarantee they appreciate it. Um, hey man, I appreciate everybody listening to the show. I appreciate everybody that reaches out, emails the show, stops me in the gym, stops me in the store, whatever. Hey, I love your show, man. Keep it up. You got to get back on the regular schedule. I'm trying. I appreciate all that. I appreciate all the feedback. Appreciate all the love, man. I appreciate all the compliments. Um, Remember, everybody, man, keep your heads up. Keep on keeping on, as Joe Dierte would say. And remember, tough times don't last. Tough people do. Catch y'all later. Peace.